want to offer this important disclaimer. The perspective shared in this podcast reflects the personal views and life experience of each guest. While we may not agree, while we may not all agree, Pulse of Polynesia honors open dialogue and diverse voices. These views do not necessarily reflect those of Pulse of Polynesia, its team, or its affiliated organizations. This discussion is intended for educational, cultural, and awareness purpose only. Some topics may be sensitive or triggering. We encourage listeners to engage with care and respect. We are here to open dialogue, not to accuse, defame, or target any individuals or institution. By continuing to listen or participate, you acknowledge that all commentary is shared in good faith and is legally protected under freedom of speech and fair use for educational purposes. Welcome to Pulse of Polynesia. I'm your host, Leal Sofiloyali, coming to you live from Katy, Texas. And tonight we're holding space for truth, accountability, and bold dialogue direct from our island voices. We've gathered a powerful panel and we're diving into issues that stretch across culture, leadership, health, and survival. But before we begin, let's start by introducing our panel members. Welcome, everybody. Let's start with
Welcome, welcome.
Monique. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Oh, talofa lava, Samoa, lo ingoa mo le toa tui tele junior, kasau mai la whanga o Leone i Songi. And I'm over here in Chico now, up in NorCal. Talofa.
Thank you, Moliko. All right, let's go, Moni.
Yeah, so for manuia le pa ia malu whaafongaanga. Yeah, so for manuia fo ele malu tato pano. Ya o lo ingoa o ala wia moni pili o te sau mai le afio anga manua tele po wa ia I tutuila. I'm also speaking to you from the unceded ancestral lands of the Tongva Nation and the Chumash tribes here in Southern California. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Moni. And all the way up in Dallas, let's go ahead and introduce Kalani.
Hey, this is Kalani Barber from the village of Tula, all the way where the nice beach and all the sands are at, if you want some. But anyways, I'm actually here in Bedford, Texas. Glad to be here, and hopefully that we'll have some great topics today.
All right. Thank you, Kalani. And dealing with the tornado up in Oklahoma, we have Arlington.
Yeah, Talafalava, Malolava, Soifuamoa, Marilangi Ma. So we also welcome our other Pacific Islanders and other Pacific Islander nations out there. Welcome. I know you guys are tuning in, and it's always good to see you guys embrace our subject as well. So I hail from the village of Wailotai in American Samoa. I now reside in Oklahoma, the land of the Sooners.
Awesome. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's get started with our first topic. Leadership and nepotism, name over talent. All right, so a little bit introduction. Across Polynesia, from Samoa to Tonga, long-standing family ties still heavily influence who leads, whether in politics, church, or education. In Samoa, a minister was removed due to nepotism. In Tonga, nobles still have guaranteed seats. And in American Samoa, hiring often favors the familiar. Even in Hawaii, legislation was introduced to ban nepotism to public jobs. So tonight, we ask our panel, are we truly choosing the best leaders or simply recycling last names? How can we build systems where talent and integrity matter more than family ties? All right, panel, the floor is yours. Who would like to start? And as always, I like to pick on Moriko, so.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the question. I've seen this life back home growing up. And I know the people's going to go against what I'm saying, but we can't, it's hard to change. Because our Matai system is pushing into politics how it run things. And you know how Matai system is, it go from paramount to all his kids and it stays there, right? So I'm looking at that way, that how the government is running right now, because I have family that do it. There's some people that I know that should be out there safule or something, but they have family in there. So they hire them from within blood. To me, it's not fair. The solution is not fair, you know, but I can't help it. Even though I speak on it, they're still going to do it. because um, it's the part of what a lot of people see, what I've seen. And the only way to change it is the good Matai leaders to look into why are we sending kids then off island to go get education, you know,
Mhm.
and then waste of time and come home and they cannot get into jobs that's available with the talent they went and grabbed from up here. So it's going to be, it's a battle, right, between families. Now they forgot about family and they jump on money issue. They rather work all their family under governments or under any company, private company that they know they're going to get all the bread. But little they know there's some kids out there, they went in studies, to do those things. And they're not getting opportunity because it's this nepotism way, man, it's wrong. That's me though. The way I look at things now is wrong. It's not fair. Anybody that hear the podcast, I hope like I say, I hope they have Jesus in their heart so we can have an open conversation. And if they agree they have Jesus in their heart, then we can have an open conversation. How can we solve the issue? Because a lot of kids that came up here, get the degree, go home, they end up a bit bussy, for the family. Like, what a waste of time, man. You should just stay home. you know. And that's my point of view of the question. Like, the solution for me is the right leaders to look at the credential of all these people. It's not about who you know, man. We need to build up, not build in within just your family. We got to build the whole community. And it's hard because all these people do, they're appointed, right? They're all from leaders' family. And then sometimes they don't know jack shit. I'm sorry about the agenda of their job duty. So that's my saying. And then anybody can disagree or agree. Hey, man, it's a conversation, you know.
Well, Iko, I wanted to add, you mentioned about these kids going off island to get their education. Is it safe to say that what you're mentioning is that this is the reason why our kids who go off island don't come back home to use their skills after they graduate?
Yes, that's exactly. That's what they're doing. So push them out because they know this kid, they're not belonging to this clan.
Mhm.
So there's no way they're going to get work in a government job.
Mm.
So might as well just stay up here. And then next thing you know, they have family and they forgot about the value of family, like
Yeah.
back in the island. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Wiliko. All right. Does anybody else?
I guess if it's okay, my
Go ahead.
take on the subject. Before I go, I just wanted to read something. It's something that it's from an acquaintance from social media. Actually asked for permission as well, and they said, "Yeah, go ahead." So they uh they said that one of the posts that they posted says titles are only as good as the work you put in. Many wear their titles like a tiara, so they just walk around and wave with a big smile, but zero effort to earn and keep that title. I feel our government has so many of these folks. It's an abuse of power. Stop piggybacking on the hard work of others. If you are swimming in a nepotism pool, then this post is about you also. You should be working 3, 4 times as hard as to show you deserve your spot. If you freely travel and abuse the military is an excuse why you are a worst kind of hypocrite to represent America and American Samoa. I believe the term is ayafu for you. We hide behind religion to justify actions, but God sees your crooked and evil ways. It's not too late to repent and do right by our island and our people. Unquote. Um, just like what Brother Toll was saying, the saying is everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but not to their own facts. And hopefully that this podcast and hopefully that this, as we talk about some of the topics, and nobody, somebody should have they say, cheeses in their heart as well. But um, my take on that is that I think there are two. Maybe there's a good thing about that, and then there's a bad thing about it as well. I'll go ahead and take my about the good part. My question is good part. the reason that trust and loyalty, that it's also easy for whoever's the leadership to maintain his trust while running an organization or continuing a legacy. You know, my take on that is that sometimes it's kind of hard because now you're actually taking nepotism over qualifications, and then it does undermines a merit-based system. And sometimes that when you run a business, I think that's a different take on it. That I guess nepotism, that leadership of that running a business, you probably rather have your family to run it. But when it comes to government, I think that's a whole new perspective that it should be based on a merit-based system. And I know that qualifications and all that degrees that like what Brother Toil was saying, all our kids they're actually having these degrees and everything. It's sad that they have these hard earning learning throughout their whole life, and then when they get down there with all these degrees they don't have the opportunity base because of how nepotism is practiced back home. So it depends on. My take is, I guess it depends how nepotism is practiced, if it aligns in the values of any organization. But my thing is that when it comes to our government, and I think that this is a big problem. It's a big problem because it's taking over our kids are earning learning that they've been going through these years, and yet that they can't get a job due because of maybe that they have to keep family in there for trust and loyalty. So my thing is that hopefully that our government can look into it and a solution to it to please based on qualifications and merit based system. So that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalani. So one thing I can say is that when you mentioned about business, you also mentioned about, government. Those are two different things that you don't want to get it all mixed up by hiring family. But I kind of wonder, do you think that another reason why they will keep family in also in the government sector is because they don't trust the people that they bring in? That's just my thought.
I
What do
believe
you?
so. I believe. I think, like I said, I guess the trust and loyalty. I guess to run a business may have somebody that earned a title in the government that might want to run the same system as well. That bringing family in that may actually, um, keep whatever that they have to do as far as loyalty to run things smooth. But I think that that can lead to a risk of quality. Lead to illegal and ethical concerns because
Mhm.
that right there can always be something. I don't want to broaden the subject, but I think that if somebody that's overqualified, not overqualified, but have all these qualifications, and then they pick somebody that doesn't have a degree, that will become a problem. It will be an ethical concern as well. So I think, yeah, that's totally. I agree about that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I think Arlington.
No, there's very good points. Just a couple of things that I was looking into is we have to remember our Samoan people have long been educated, long before we even enter the academia. We all have degrees, and it just seems like qualifications were almost like mounting up against each other. And I always go back to, if you sort of look at it from the perspective like a SWOT analysis, right? The term that we use in business. So if that specific job you're looking for can easily be replaced and it's not a highly skilled position that anyone can fill, then we really can't really play the nepotism card because anyone can fill that position. But if that position is truly being filled without, like what they said, not based on merit, and we're just throwing anybody in there because that's my relative, then that's wrong. I mean, nepotism doesn't have a place, but nepotism to me can be um, overlooked if you're bringing a relative that is highly skilled, right? And if we're looking into the government in the terms of rotation based on the new administration, that's sort of expected, right? I mean, you get into these fields with the risk knowing that every 4 years there's a possible of rotation. There's no guarantee that they're going to retain you. Now, if there are positions that are guaranteed to keep you regardless of who is in charge, then you pretty much, I think you have a safe position to be in. But I echo what they say. If we're going to get education from the outside, we're wanting to come back home to serve our government or serve our people. Where's the room for us? But then I also have to acknowledge there are people that came before us. So they've also been educated, but then you have to look at their experience that they have. So you want to retain that somewhat. You can't always base it on experience. So I'm looking at myself. I feel like I have a lot of qualifications that I think I can make an impact going home. But then there's someone else that's equally like me that's probably also there, but then they had that experience over me. So I want to make sure that we're factoring those elements into in our discussion. But as far as if it's truly that you're just throwing any relative in there without any experience compared to someone that has a degree, and that's just not right.
Thank you, Arlington. Moni, did you have anything to say?
Yoifaf, taimule avanoa. And I'm so sorry. I keep on getting in and out, but thank you so much for bearing with me. What am I taupu lea? Eh, o te lo se mataupu whaingata. Ai, o te mantua le upu Samoa lea masani a tātou e whaalongo i ai. E ilo oe ilo tū maanga sa vali ma lau tautala. And o mea lea ta o le tū maanga, le a mionga. Wa mionga if suyai. In English, that saying is, you know how you are. People know who you are by the way you carry yourself, the way you walk amongst others, and the way you talk. Well, the way we carry ourselves is our behavior, but our behavior changes through time. Uh, oh, the Samoan culture is very beautiful. I feel like holding true to it is the reason why we survived the test of time. We survived imperialism, colonialism, and two world wars. We still have a home to go back to. Empires didn't last that long, but we did. Oleane mafuanga, ono tato anga nu, anga ifanua. And so when you look at our government and you look at today's modern times and you look at our culture, our country, whether it's the independent state of Samoa or the territory, it's more of a trifecta. There are three sides of the triangle. You have on one side of the triangle indigenous values and practices. Yeah, or tato anganu. On the other side of the triangle, you have
Moni's having problems with his computer. So we'll give him time. I wanted to ask while we're waiting for Moni to come back. When I lived in Alaska, they had this thing where they only hire. They needed to make sure that they hire some Alaska native. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that's another option that we can use as a solution. Um, Moni, can you hear us? Okay, I'll
sorry.
let Moni continue. Go ahead, Moni.
On one side, we have indigenous values, anganu'u. On the other side, we have Western way of governance. And then you have the third part of the triangle, which is our faith. 95% of Samoa are Christians. And so our faith and religion is a big part. Around the world, you have at least two and not the one. Or you have one and not the other two. But in Samoa, we have all three. We have indigenous practices, we have Western governance, and we also have religion. I truly feel it's because whatever blessings we come with, it's no use if we don't recognize where it comes from. Uh,
Mm.
but I truly believe that o tato atu nu'u, tato anga nu'u Samoa, o Samoa sa atu nu'u tutofi, e fai pule mali'i, tupu mai. These things they pui pui ai tato tangata, tato fa. But it's also really important to understand that we get why people feel nepotism is the perspective and why people are so turned off from it.
Mhm.
But I feel like if we understood the true essence of the Fa Samoa, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that our leaders traveled all the way by boat and train to Washington, D.C. to halt the Organic Act of 4500, making us, American Samoa, an incorporated part of the United States. But that defeating of the Organic Act brought about our people being able to elect our own legislature and have our own fono. Half of the fono is appointed by council, and the other half is appointed by the people. Another testament how we have this trifecta in our governance. Now, remember, by virtue, in order for you to become someone like an ali'i to lead a family, you're supposed to have studied and served and loved and helped and nurtured the ainga and the atunu. And maybe in today's time, we don't have those people in some of our families that,
Right here.
you have people
This
were
people
living
you
like
talking
fafo.
about. Right
No,
here you
no.
talking about
O
those
living out
people.
tana.
I'm alive.
Mean that to know for ifafo and all of a sudden come back home
Oh yeah.
and take these positions of leadership and power where you impact family lives and make family decisions in their everyday living. But I
Yeah.
truly believe that our anganu'u is a beautiful thing, but when used correctly and honestly, it protect our people. Again, we survived the test of time. Empires didn't last that long, but because of our traditions and cultures, we survived and we're still thriving. Also, fasolina to saifon mata upu.
Nice.
Basta.
Morning.
Thank you.
It-
Is
it-
there
it-
anybody that wanted to add to it? Go ahead, Moliko.
But follow up what Bonnie said about
Yeah.
Kangakaye, or the people that gotta become the paramount's. Is the saying that anybody can get it is false. Had to be the blood to the core, not and those are the ones. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm speaking because I'm one of the one. Because I know what I can do. Because remember Kalafasa more than Ayafu. Right? You guys know that word Ayafu?
Moliko, for those who don't know, can you explain that?
The meaning of Ayafu in the other in English version is you taking advantage of what your position is, and then you're at home getting paid and you're sleeping, right? I seen it with my own eyes. Like I said, the conversation, I put everything out there, the truth, because I seen my dad did this. And my dad, I don't want to blast my family, but this is my opinion of what I've seen. My dad was doing it. And I hear people, I told my dad the word Ayafu, and he told me that. He was working for any Falema Baenga. He was the guy, that orator, right? And little I know, my dad is chilling in the living room. So that's why I speak on it, because I seen this. It's not fair, but it was family. That's why, that's why Andy hired my dad. And then he was at home. I told him, man, y'all from man there, but that's it. They're cousins. So there you go. It's family, right? Even though Andy know that he can write La Unga and all those stuff. And he's smart too, but they want to Fasor, but he rather hire my dad. I told him, man, why you for already dad in a joking way, and he just looked at me. So that's why I speak in my family. Even some of you guys' family too, but hey man, I put them on blast because I'm grown now, I'm almost 50. I learned what's been going on, and it's not right. Somebody just stand up and go home and say, this is how we run things. And if you don't like it, I got me an excavator here. I'm gonna freaking sewer this place down. That's what my dad used to do. He took me everywhere about all this stuff. So I know a lot of things about the culture where I'm from. That's the most important thing. You gotta know where you're from so you can speak on it. So you don't want nobody come attack you. You gotta know your facts, your roots, and this nepotism way, like we all know, we all agree, all in culture. But when you go to politics, it's wrong. That's my add on the Usomoni was saying.
Moni, sorry, did you want to say something to add? Go ahead.
O te whaalua fo ile manatu a moe le toa. I just want to just also add, as far as perspective, these titles that we have are titles of nobility because of noble umatato. Even the o tangata e lai whengai mali maumanga, e noble fo ile lato. But this Matai system, it's not a monarchy. It doesn't go up and down. It moves side to side. Just because I am a Matai, that doesn't mean my son has to be, and his son, and his son. No. It's Fasoa. From one family to another,
Damn. Good. I'm for the connection.
Yeah, I want to touch on what Moni said, because if you remember my first podcast when it first came on, that's exactly what I mentioned, right? When it was time for my dad to relinquish the title, who did dad turn to? Like, son, you should have a say in this title. And what did I tell my dad? That's not the Fasa Mo way. And I think that's what Moni is trying to explain. It doesn't have to go to the son, right? Just because you're the title holder, what makes you think your son should automatically have a bid, throw his name in there? So, I'm going to retell my story for those who haven't heard. I shared with dad, among you Fasa Mo, if you feel it, and I didn't feel that I was that person, even though I felt confident in other areas that I have the strength in Fasa Mo. I knew there was a better person that I really wanted the title to go to. But um, but then the other side of the coin is dad found, seeing some value in me, and he just felt like, what a waste of talent. If you're not going to use it, what are you using it for? I need you to somehow have a say in this family. What are you going to do? Sit idle and not contribute to this family? So I think dad seen that in me. So that's why we have a split title now, is because dad said, if you guys want to relinquish the title, you should have a say. But I guess he found more confidence in myself and seen more than, that I seen in myself at the time. But I think that's what Moni was trying to get to. It doesn't have to go from the dad to the son to the son to the son. And that's what I was trying to avoid. And I was trying to get dad to see that title needs to be shared across to the other guy that I seen that was more fitting for the title. Sangwa Mai Moni,
Yeah, go
sorry, I
ahead.
didn't mean to steal your moment there.
No, no, thank you. You were actually on the right thread. I think this app is telling me to keep my faso at 30 seconds or less, or it's gonna kick me out again. But just on a closing note, I was trying to say we're not a monarchy. Our titles don't go up and down. It moves side to side. We come from families that consist of clans and faletamas, and not
That's
one falitama should keep the title always. It must move around.
Madi.
But I see that abuse. Even that's not followed sometimes in the family. You see three, four people from the same line.
hmm of the adopted family. Same
Yeah.
line of the adopted family. And the
Yeah.
real G's of the family are just roaming around, man. The hell
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
y'all.
Not to broaden this subject, but I
Go
think I've
ahead.
seen it as well. It's just that, let's just say that this falikama, and then all of a sudden this falikamas, they don't have kamas. It's just females. And these females, and this falikama is married to somebody that is not actually ties to this title. And I've seen it. I've seen it. Some of the fayavas are actually sitting on the titles and became the one. And then I think that's why is the reason that now you have expanded out to these people, to the family that is not part of the ties or not blood related. And then that's why there's a lot of discussion and a lot of cases that are actually going on in Samoa. It's because of that. So yeah, I think yeah, it's a bigger problem now than what we think about, but I think that's what it is that will from a kaika di kaudeainga due to the fact that there was no kamas in the falikama, and then that
I know the history. I can tell the history of the whole Kuikele up here if we have a
yeah
podcast, so people understand where the real
yeah
one and where the one that was. I have books, My great
yes
great
sir
grandfather Penkila and Wang, they got papers, they got books they wrote. So the
yeah
people, man, they gonna be, they gonna. But That's another subject, but our subject was nepotism, yo. Let's get back to the topic
That's
and
right.
move on to the
Watch out
next.
now, more calls coming home.
Yeah. All right.
Come on, we're gonna do some pow back on.
Thank you, Cole, for bringing it back to the subject.
Yeah,
So
I know.
there,
Back to
I
it.
wonder, because I mentioned this in the introduction that Hawaii had created a bill for nepotism. Is that something that we need to do with American Samoa? Is create a bill to stop nepotism in the government system?
That would be
Samoa,
something down.
Samoa, pretty much everyone's related. I can guarantee you all four of us looking at each other are related if we
Yeah,
extend
I
our
think we
family
did
lineage.
connected ties with
We will
Satele.
be
yeah.
jobless in Samoa because we're all related.
We're all related, man. Kalau nga uso, kamo uso nga ka. Ala pasa. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Moni, you're back. Go ahead.
Bonnie, you're back, Bonnie. Man, out of internet. So they.
Yoi, for the fifth time. No, I think that was it. That's all I wanted to share. Sai.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for giving your inputs and about this topic. It's something that we're still dealing with, and like what Arlington said, we're pretty much all connected. So it's kind of hard to deal with the nepotism part. So let's move on to the topic that we have next, and that's called the ice epidemic, our dirty secret. Meth or ice has taken root across our islands, from record-breaking drug busts in Samoa to rising youth violence in American Samoa. It's no longer a hidden crisis. In Fiji, some say meth is easier to find than food. That's ridiculous. Yet we rarely talk about it. Shame, silence, and fear continue to hold communities hostage. So we ask, how do we break the silence? What are your real solutions, cultural, legal, or spiritual, that our panel believes could help our people fight back and heal? All right, the floor is yours.
The officer Kalani.
I'll take a stab at this real quick, and I'll just throw like maybe a few pointers out there. And I question the port of entry, right? And I think I came across some article that said the reason why we struggle is we don't have enough manpower to research or search every cargo that comes in. So if that's your excuse of allowing poor inspection, and that's the entry point, then you are failing as a leader to control the element, right? So if you know that, okay, to me that sounds like turning a blind eye. That's my excuse to allow that to come through. Like, who says that kind of stuff? Oh yeah, we don't have enough manpower. Guess what? Fire some other folks that they're irrelevant and solve the problem. Put more folks, at the port. I don't care, how many you throw in there, because you're saying it's a manpower issue. Well, guess what? Divert your power to where the source is needed. So that's just one of my points. And then I came across a video, and I'm sorry I didn't share with you, but I seen a family that were just sailing across the Pacific, and they were going from island to island. And this boat just came straight to the Bango Harbor, parked there, waiting for customs to check their boat. They had to call customs, and customs didn't even realize they were there. They were there for a couple hours, and before someone even arrived. And my question is, how did you get so far into our harbor without even being challenged by the Coast Guard far out at sea? And then a question you ask yourself, if it was so easy for some drifters to park in your harbor without challenge, how easy it is for someone just to go park, at Leonge or some other small village out there, just park your little yacht or your boat, offload there. There's no one there to inspect those ports of entry. I mean, they're not really ports of entry. There's just landing zone. So those are my thoughts. And I'd like to hear from someone on island. If anyone is saying that you do have coverage, then great. But if those are areas that are exposed and there's, free drop zones, well, guess what? If it takes an idiot like me from Oklahoma to think about that, well, guess what? You need more folks that, that generate thought how to secure your island. So I'll pass it on to the other group.
Nice. Um, well, I think the question to the government, I think uh, I hate to say it, but the involvement is something that we kind of suspect and trying to think about how are these going into. And I use the analogy of our own house. A man of a house, they will always protect their house from anything coming in, intruders and all kinds of stuff. And I think that we failed as a government to protect our house back home, our small island. And I think the government should focus on combating corruption and providing community-based prevention and all that. And like what Brother Arlington was talking about, yeah, all these customs and all these supplies and everything coming in through the wharf. That's the only place that they could have control from. But yet, for some reason, that it's everywhere and it's beyond control. I don't think that ICE is not just our problem, but it's the world problem now. But for us, that we had the opportunity to protect our ngakay whanua, and especially around our. But now it's to me, I think our government has failed us as far as protecting us from all these. Now, what should we do as far as the solution and everything? I mean, treatment center and all that kind of stuff and everything. Somebody that could at least voice or step up on the plate and try to see if we can get these centers going as far as getting these kids. And then just like what Russell was actually saying, that it's easy access. It's so easy, and of course, money is odds of all evil. That wherever the money is at, that's where everything is at. And the thing of it is that now if these things are actually out there that it's easy to access, can you imagine any other thing that might be coming into our house that it's already open, the door's already open, and then we can't control it? I like to. I say that I wouldn't share it, but that's another video that we saw about the two recruiters that was actually attending some of the graduations, and then they were actually saying on the social media and saying that they were asking some of these kids after the graduation, "Hey, what do you want to do for your life, for your family? What are you going to do if you're gonna when you graduate?" And it's sadly that they ask one of the kids, and these kids say that I'd rather sell ice. It's a lot of money and it's easy. And the thing of it is that they weren't sure if they were being sarcastic, but at the same time, I don't think the kids should ever thought about or even think about even saying that kind of stuff. So that's something that now it's like it's beyond control. I don't think that it's because like what Arlington was saying, how can a boat just come waiting for a customs and then nobody showed up and then all these things has to be checked. So now people are starting to saying that hey, it's a coping mechanism. We need these substances, but no, I think that's an excuse. But I think the amount of money that is actually pouring in these kind of stuff, you know, everybody know it's a money making business. So sadly, that now it's just that our government, we should at least focus on combating the corruption because corruptions comes from all this money when it start flowing, and then when we see money, we forget about everything else. So that's my take upon it. Tough level.
Nice, nice.
Sorry, Leah. So
Thank
you're
you.
muted.
Thank you. I was just gonna say before we go to Moliko, we'll jump to Moni because Moni is
Yeah.
currently living in America's Samoa. And before Moni gets cut off, we'll jump to Moni first before Moliko. Go ahead, Moni.
Yeah.
So in the next 30 seconds, I would like to just, I'm just joking. Uh, you know, one, yes, one of the reasons why we're seeing this is a big part is because of failed policy. Yeah, we talked about point of entry. We talked about not having enough manpower to protect our borders. I but I remember I was going to college back in ASCC many moons ago, and the government was talking about, oh, we're gonna invest millions of dollars in rehab and rehab center rehabilitation. I was just there 2 months ago, and the Fono is still talking about the so-called millions of dollars to build this rehab center they've been talking about for over 10 years now. So our government is failing. It's failing in that aspect. But yeah, rehab I feel like is trying to address the problem by putting a band-aid on it. But going back to the issue of how do we prevent it? Yeah, stronger borders, and two, we need a better economy. Yeah, like brother said, kids are saying it's easier to sell drugs in a day. You can make 2 weeks wages in a day, uh, and that's sad if that's the best option when it comes to getting money for yourself and for your family. And so, yeah, we need a better economy. We need to, and it goes back to policy. What can our leaders do to make sure that we have better jobs? But from someone who lives there and seeing the vibe, or the espíritu Tatu Tangata back home, it was really really sad. And I shared this earlier, where you go back home and you remember growing up, everybody and their mama was just roaming the streets, and you say hi to your neighbor and to your kausogas and to your family. Oh my tepini. Say hi to ila ana am sabi balitanga talungan awana. It's very, very, it's like ghost town. I walk from Ili Ili and my brother and my sister-in-law's house all the way to Pavaiai, and I've only saw two other people walking on the road the entire time. Everything else is cars. But it all boils down to Olala Mafuanga Isaiah, because it's dangerous. I talked to my brother, and you know, life so maisha also for my I don't want my kids on the street. It's because of their safety. Yeah, alone wo fefefeta to tangata. Wo fefefeta to tangata I always amwa. But with that fear, you would think that would mobilize us and motivate us to do something about it. Which brings me to complacency. And what I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to say the government is the answer. I'm also saying us, the people, are too. We need to also do our part in holding them accountable, strengthening our communities in our churches and in our villages, not just in the fono and in the mano, but also within the smallest, but supposed to be the strongest unit in the country, and that unit is the unit of the family. May ainga. Ya mata ina ona laing o le whaavai o tangata o le muai a o onga. And so, that e o fo I lo lava ai kai Samoa. We need to do better, even in our homes.
Thank you, Moni.
Malo,
So
malo.
there was a comment that was out there. It says, um, our brothers and sisters from Fiji are being singled out unfairly in these conversations. It is crucial to recognize that the challenges we face with drugs are in Leone. Tofoi, I think you got that wrong. We have this conversation is regard to all of Polynesia, but we're mostly speaking on experience and knowledge that we know of within Samoa, in America's Samoa. And so that's to correct that part. Minority says most of the drugs come through people who work in the government. And I can see why you would say that.
I
It's, yeah, yeah, that's true. And we have a comment that says Talofa Lava from Australia, Soifua. All right. Moni, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Malo,
cut you off.
Salvador.
Did you have something to say? You wanted to add to more?
no, I'll say this on national TV. Wait, I remember being in Fangaima, and there's notorious drug dealers there. And yeah, I know I'm going out on a limb, but there was a police car or two. I kid you not. When I was visiting my cousin and dropping off a few people at this particular house, and we're not blind and we're not deaf. We all know where that house is. And so when I hear the comment, people in the government are also the source of all these drugs. It's fair to say that it's not a surprise that delves into corruption. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can you guys hear me?
yeah.
Okay, because I'm getting a connecting sign on my
Oh,
screen. But no, it goes back to corruption, and that's also the theme that we've been hearing our entire lives. And so I'm not surprised to hear that comment. I'm not.
That
Thank you,
spinning
Moni.
thing you see, Moni, that's the American Samoa government trying to block your feed. That's what it is.
They're gonna control your freedom of
Yeah, they're
speech.
trying to silence you over there.
Yeah, Elon Musk is in Samoa, so. Well, there go.
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
bring it
Go
on.
ahead.
Yeah. See, to me, what I've seen and I've heard from the brothers here, it all come down to nepotism. It all come down to elite yolenguku. It all come down to Makai. We can all say government, but the government had no control over the Makai yolenguku. Ma elite yolenguku. If I saw onga mea ye kamaiki here. But it's hard because there were more envelope elite yolenguku ma Makai yolenguku. So they push that, just keep pushing it. They don't want to stop it. It's just, it's wrong. But that's why I'm saying everything it all linked back to Makayo Lengu. We can all blame government, but before all this government came home, or Lito Lengu, if I had Fakunga, I revive ko all if I saw it. Kanga ko mo ngu so le ka makiki le fa ka ule bele I mai no mai fa sala. I work with fire. The fire me nga ngu ye le onge. Buso ngā fuere ko punga mai mengi. Ere fo sisi ngu follow right? If Leone village don't control what's coming in, they have good leaders that are not going to get bribed by money, then the whole issue can be shut down. Then Leone chiefs can link with the Uli chiefs. The Li'i or Mu'unge control man, well, it's like it's taking our youth. We're losing a lot of our generations. And to me, they're looking at, just let them be slave and push them to ice. Let them kill each other. That's where I look at things of this ICE movement is they want our young people to keep working and die young. And it's all come from Matais. If they don't stand with the blessing of the family gave you the blessing, they'll stand up and talk to the people that are doing this corruption. And if you're not about it, then find another person that have the heart from within. This has to stop. Period. And if they say who you got behind you, dude, I got my family now rolling up, and then we're gonna go to war because I want to protect the young ones. Kids, man, there's so much shit that was pushed on us, and now the ICE. And they don't want to talk about the other plant because they say everybody be healthy from it, So the ICE movement, they need to control from the Matais. Because they're getting the envelope, they will not say a damn thing, but continue on. And those are the ones, if they hear this podcast, they need to figure it out. Look in the mirror, man. You're hurting our young ones. They're dying. We're the last generation of Samoa to me. Because our parents are, fight langit kunasi. We're the last one. If we don't fix it and talked about issues that our people are going to be depleted, man. We don't even know there's Samoan land back home because of this ICE movement. And it's creating a lot of people, kalipimea, kids, So it's wrong, and we cannot blame the government. It comes from Matai system, corruption to the core. And all Matai up here listening,
sorry.
they better know. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good, Moko. It goes right back to what Kalani was just talking about. The analogy about keeping your home safe. You don't want to bring that in the home, and so
right.
Kalani, I know you wanted us to add to what Muliko was saying. Go ahead.
Man, it's really, really good to hear again about this because the system nowadays is that our villages and our village are actually depending on the government. But what Malietoa is saying is true. Anybody that brings that kind of shameness in the village, ole au manga, ole pule mu, e pa uiri fongo, ami mai makai o mu, faile, le fai unga, and these are the things that you're right. So yeah, I think we go back to our culture as well. Le whaavai mai eide, le kakua kumu, I miss it for you, kakua ngu. So yeah, I think what Maliko Brother Toa was saying is very true. Um, I validate that because there was actually some kids in our village that actually were, fayirne fight. But guess what? Instead of depending on the police to come lock them up, they
Right.
took matters in their hands because that's the system that we were brought up. So yeah, that's true, very true. That if our Matai system and everybody in the village will stand up, choose the right ones, everybody should be in front of the Malay, but not kuo fali, amai luma, kalangoa uma. Everything should be in the front, not in the back.
Right, Jesus.
So just to add on, thank you. Ya se faço foi nga po se mga malo.
Thank you, Kalani.
So before you move on, I just want to add, and this goes more than Samoa, like anywhere in the Pacific. If you guys truly want to make an impact, one of the most powerful things that you have is what you have in your hand, which is a cell phone, right? If you're busy using a phone for everything else, why not record those suspicious activities? Whether or not it leads to an arrest, but growing up back home, there were drugs when we were growing up. We knew of things, but today, if you really want to make an impact, you have that phone. You know what's going on. Be anonymous, and there are people on Facebook I know that will share these things. So you don't have to put yourself out there saying, "I'm the one that recorded this." Record that damn thing. Send it to someone that's always exposing these corruptions or all these issues on islands. Send it to their page. Let them push it out to the public. I think the more we bring that out to light, I mean, this is a powerful tool. Now, whether or not the government or the police moves on that lead, that's another way to expose them for not doing their jobs. But you can't deny what a video shows. So just add, because we live in a day of technology, right? I agree with what everyone says, but this is a powerful tool. Record it, send it to someone.
Thank you, Arlington. Is
Thank
there
you.
anybody else that would like to add to this? Waliko, go ahead.
Oh no. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Moni, I thought I heard you say something. No. Okay, sounds good.
No, just again, just to make. Okay.
No, go ahead, Moni. Go ahead. You had to say something. Go ahead.
No, we're good. No, we're good.
Okay, so you
No,
know
no.
what?
Okay.
Moni, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, man,
Okay,
it's
man.
Jesus in your heart.
No,
Yes.
Amen. Speaking of Jesus, Samoa is such a small place, and meaning this is happening in our own homes because everyone knows each other. Despite you know, the assertions that it's a small island, but it really, really is. These are our families. These are our cousins. These are our brothers and sisters. These are human beings within our ainga, and we love them. We love them very much. So fasidi o ya oi. Itutono lo lava lo wogoma lo lava ilo lava loto. If you truly, truly love these people who are our families, then do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Mhm.
That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Arlington. If
Malo.
if you could please read this for me. You know how it goes for my reading.
Ponu if vai le atua, whawhkai le lotonu, my little culture boy, Toa, and Kalani, my lord Faso. So just doing shout
Malo
outs and
mo.
also
Thank you very much.
sharing that our, Samoa is founded on trusting God.
Thank you, Arlington. All right, we have another comment. My little sister got out of federal prison recently from crossing the border into San Diego with is that 140 pounds of ice. Now she is a social worker getting people into drug rehab. That's good. That's a good turnaround. Wow. Good for your sister.
Amen.
Yep. Well,
All right, another comment. People turn a blind eye because it hits too close to home and they'd rather not deal with it. Significant corruption exists at both the village level and within government structures. Thank you, Tama. Matalena, thank you. All right, Arlington, if you could read this other one as well, please.
I like that last one. It was like something about oh.
Yeah.
Ule aingi kangaka alofa maungi. Wa fai lava le kangaka ia ma mea e mawai longa manguia. So just kind of like,
Totally.
echoing what the last person saying, just no honest people and just turning a blind eye.
True. All right. So,
I
the
just
next
want to. I
topic
just
that
want
we're.
to.
Oh, go ahead, Moleko.
I just
Yes,
want
go
to
ahead.
follow up what the Uso Moni was saying. Sao, he's right, because the people back in the island, they're very timid to say it to them because they're right next door. But I just want to add this, that my family, whoever's listening, if you're ICE head, I'm gonna see you in 2027, and you don't belong there. I'm just for my family. Because you're hurting my people. You're hurting our family. And somebody need to put the foot down and throw your ass over the bridge and don't ever come back. Those are the leaders they need back home to speak honest truth. And they always, this is what they say. Say, June, because you're all the way up in Chico, California, my brother's back home. I say, oh, I can't wait, man. Because I speak this, I know I can handle all this for me. Other people, they're very timid, busy, fifty, busy, the neighbor. Oh, man, growing up in the island, man, I grew up right there. Songi, Leonge, Ili, Ala Matafao. Everywhere I grew, Amangave, I've been everywhere. So that's why I speak on it, because the people ain't going to see me like, solo lekali kalai, or lekali kamay, you know. So they need kankakoa. That's all I'm trying to say. Speak honest truth to these people. Stop hurting our kids, man. You can go hurt yourself, but don't push it on the kids.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to add up to Brother Moni was saying. Yeah, it's up. It's a kid with a neighbor. So it's kind of hard to address them. They're going to turn on you. But it's the honest truth. But that's what I want to add on to the Brother Moni's.
Thank you, Moleko. So, the next topic that we're getting into it probably does also tie into what's going on with the ice epidemic, and it's mental health and generational trauma, suffer in silence. Colonialism, forced migration, and generational silence have left deep wounds in our communities. In American Samoa, nearly 1 in 4 students report suicidal thoughts. Mental health remains taboo, with many still viewing it as a weakness or disrespect. So tonight we ask, how can we normalize healing? What cultural tools or community programs are helping, and what more can we do to protect the next generation from suffering in silence? Other than what Bolikoa said, go back to Samoa and kick your family who's on the ice. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Who's it, me? Oh, man, somebody else go first, man.
All right, Moni, did you want to go ahead and add your thoughts to the mental health and
Oh,
generational trauma? Yes, go ahead.
oh yes. Yeah, the mental health here in the diaspora, in the States, in America, and also Ifafo, there's the stigma. It's an accepted truth for a lot of families here. It's the stigmatized topic that no one wants to talk about, but even more so in Samoa, it's also just as stigmatized. It's a topic that a lot of families don't really sit down and talk about. It's not something that's on the agenda. But when you hear those statistics of suicide, especially within our youth, you can't help but think, well, why is this not on the conversation table in our families? Why is this not on the conversation table more so in our schools when it comes to our youth? And when it comes to mental health, specifically suicide, since you mentioned 1 out of 4 people in American Samoa felt suicidal. Uh, Coming from a culture where we have indigenous legends in Talal Olivavao, where we actually romanticize suicide. You have Fatuma Futi who loved each other but couldn't be together. So what did they do? They jumped into the ocean and turned into rocks. You had the Lau Mei and you had the turtle and shark and again lovebirds. What do? Let's go kill ourselves and jump into the ocean. You have Sina and the eel, where I'm gonna die, but take my head and bury it. I'll turn into a coconut tree. And every time you drink a coconut, you're kissing me. It's like these things that we romanticize. When deeply, when you really delve into it, it's actually mental health. And so I truly feel that if we remember our indigenous values, we'll be more prone to be open to talk about the stigmatized subject. Uh, Ole upule if le ala mea le ala mea. I mean, only a alamea crab can heal its own wounds. Uh, well, same thing. Something like this in the family, well, the family can heal it. Something internally with yourself, have that conversation with yourself and really self-reflect, and you can overcome it. Uh, don't downplay the will and the talents and the skills that you have, especially when it comes to your self-worth. Um, Mental health is new to our family too. I have a brother who is very open about his mental health. He went to 3 tours to Iraq and Afghanistan. And when he came back, the attitude we first, he portrayed to us was, every time we complained, he would, if CD my, hey, do you have a straw? Like, no, why? Because you need to suck it up. Yeah. That was that devil dog marine, mentality. But then we started to see the real impacts of war and military service unfold. We saw the sweat nights, we saw the dreams, we saw the outbursts and anger to the point where I was like, you know what, bro? You served your country. There's a VA hospital here. Let You deserve to get all the treatment and benefits that you worked hard for. So you fought for the country. Let the country take care of you. Gao, asiasit for mai. That was hard because why? When we talk about mai, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, it means weakness. And so you saw this Marine brother of mine who is still one of the strongest people I know. We go and TBI for trauma, brain injury, back, leg, eyesight, hearing, all that. But when it came to see a psychiatrist, that was the hardest of all the appointments. I'm not going to go into detail, but I will say this. He gave us an opportunity in our family to talk about something that we never thought we would talk about. Uh, it was new to us. And at first, we didn't know how to take it. But because of this opportunity of a loved one who was really reaching out, um, we learned about something that was real and something that has been going on in a lot of our families that we tend to sweep under the rug.
Mhm.
Yo ele manatu yeah, they're just weak and complaining, but itawotele le internal, mal external. Tawotele le fa'an ma fau mal fa'atino. I mean, going back to culture, and I'll make this real quick. I thank my brother for his example because it taught us something. I used to be one of those that said, stop complaining. But I know it's real. But I just want to end on this note that, you know, if we're really in tune with who we are, we could really, really do overcome. But if you need help, it's okay to need help. It's okay to need help. And we must look at the signs because some of our family members are giving us signals that sometimes we just do not read, but it's been there all along. Uh, yeah, first I.
Thank you, Moni. Before we get into the next one, let me read some of these comments for you guys, okay? Minority, if here's his comment. If you end up in a federal prison for selling ice in Samoa, get ready because the boys are going to get you. Matalena, violence is not the answer. Rehabilitation center is what they need. Arlington, can you please read this one?
Se whaamatala diaspora. So they're saying, can you explain what that term is? Anyone want to take a shot at that?
Who would like to explain it? Go ahead, Moni.
Le diaspora.
Yes.
Oi,
So I think
sorry, ole diaspora, or se upuno no, it's a term for those of us who are Samoans who live outside of Samoa. Those of us who migrate from the motherland to live elsewhere. Ole upuna, ole wingana upuleo diaspora.
I just called myself a fob when I left the island, so I guess the Lupufonga or Fonga sa Okako PR diaspora. Yeah, okay, level.
All right, another comment is from Tofoi. Yeah, but not everyone can go to the VA to get treated. But what about the ones who are not fortunate to see a licensed therapist? Are any of you a legal licensed psychiatrist? To answer your question, no, we are not a legal therapist. Arlington, did you want to say? I thought I saw your hand go up.
No, I was just joking around with them, but a very good point taken.
Go ahead, Moni.
I've been a therapist my whole life, but I'm not licensed though.
I was going to say I slept at a Holiday Inn last night.
But all jokes aside, though, she has a valid point.
Mm-hmm.
The comment has a valid point. You know, yeah, even if we did have services for those of us who are Ifafo, it's so hard when the person you're trying to talk to do not look like you and doesn't understand the culture and the trauma, the things that you've been through. They're not similar to us. And sometimes when we share our internal feelings and our longona, is it really processing to that therapist? Do they have the competency to understand the background of what we're trying to share to them and towards them? But do we need licensed therapists? Absolutely. Absolutely. For the longest time, the people we go to is Faifiaus. We go to our Faifiau and we share with them thinking this is a spiritual problem. And what would be the number one answer? Yeah, kakaro le hua. Mawai le kali. You know, ole kong fikir nga. Ito e whaato toro ma fau. And we hear our parents say that to us all the time. And then it makes you wonder, well, I'm coming to God. And if I'm still messed up here, then maybe maybe I'm not on his good list. And it's hard to find a space in something when there's no language for it. We just barely coined fa'asamoa term for mental health just a few years ago. Before that, we didn't know what to call it. We didn't know what was fa'asamoa for mental health. You know, ole soy formalo lo ingat fa'alema fau. I mean, what is the word for depression? What is the word for depression? Because the word we usually would use is ole mai. Well, ma fau or sad. But sad is just a small part of the entire picture. So we need language. We need people we need our own people to be therapists, to be in a field that can terminologize these things for us so that we can have a language for it too.
Thank you, Moni.
My turn? Is it my
turn? Go ahead, Molika. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. This mental health issue thing, It's a big thing. I heard Brother Morty talk about it, but it comes from within you. If you don't admit to the wrongs and the right that you have done in your life, there's you put out stats, of suicide rate. And if you look at the rate of those the ages, it's all young ones. The young ones, they don't know where to run. Like Brother Money said, they don't know where to go because everything brushed under the rug. When we first started this was Class 95 podcast, right, Lasso?
Yes.
And I spoke on this thing because this is a serious issue before we got online.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, I hope Jesus have their heart in their heart. And I hope Jesus is in your heart.
Yeah.
Because everything I say, it happened on me, right? Like you say, like Brother Moni said, it's kind of hard to explain that it wasn't him, it happened to his brother. But everything that I'm speaking on right now, it happened to me. Brother Tassi, let us know, me growing up in the island, I was going through a lot. I want to end my life. I laid in the middle of the street in front of the Sofiku, right? I was 10th grade. Because I can't run nowhere. I run people to tell them what happened to me. The abusing, the molesting, all that. Like I said, the uncomfortable conversation. You got to admit that you have Jesus in your heart, then we can relate. Because it might happen to you guys out there listening, but they don't have that courage to break that. It's from here. If you do that, then you can sit back and look at what's going on, and then you're going to reach out to those kids. If they want to build all the rehab, what is the benefit of the rehab? They're going to make more money, but the people are suffering. It's just a Band-Aid, like the Brother Moni was saying. So that's what I did, right? One day, I had to confess everything to my significant, to my wife. Because it was at the point that I can't do it no more. I need somebody. 43 years, I finally broke the ice and told my wife about everything that happened to me. And I told my wife, I'm sorry. I was a strong man. I was a bully. And my wife seen me with tears falling. She knew it was a serious issue that I want to get out of my chest so I can live free. And from there, she accepted what I was saying. And she was looking at my life because I married her like 26 years now. So she's reflect back. No wonder why you came in, you didn't care. You were just going at it. Whoever to mess with you. And I say, yeah, it's from the history trauma. It's that mental health that was put up on me, with the violation of me, forcing me to go through things with older people. I was bribed. And I was ashamed, right? And from there on, now I'm 5 years now, I'm free. I found peace. Yeah. So when I talk to people that deal with it, like, look, first thing you got to come from you. You got to check yourself. You got to be honest to yourself. Then you can go fix other people. You can't try to fix other one with their mental health and you're still dealing with yours when the lights goes off and you're in your own house. So the solution for it is upon the grown folks that dealing with now, reach out to the ones that going through it. They cannot go to the Matais. They cannot go to auntie, the cousin, run to the hospital, just find social worker and report this thing. It's more secret. It's privacy, It's for people that's scared. I ain't scared. Like I said, I found peace for me to speak on it so we can share. Whoever's out there listening cannot find a way to get out of it. Bro, man, just get on in, man. We can conversate. I don't care what the world's going to say about me. I was already aware of the blaming and pointing the finger and make family look bad. I don't care. I know that's coming. So I'm aware of it to fire right back. So you the problem. You're the one that keep hiding this from the freaking people to know that you guys are doing this. You see how the street goes one way and then go the other way? So for the people that still deal with this mental health. You got to know you got to admit to all your wrongs and all your rights. And from there on, you can lead because your heart is clear. That's my add on it, you know. Thank you for the Avangoa. And I use myself an example for people that know me. They can relate then, man. Phew. And now I don't do that no more. I don't look for fights and all that unless it's necessary for me to speak on it and then work cut deeper. and that's my addition on that mental health, you know.
I want to add something to Moliko. So knowing Moliko all these years, growing up, Moliko was a bad boy growing up in high school, and the turnaround that he's done, and within 5 years ago, he was able to share that and release all that burden and the mental trauma that he's had has helped him heal, and through finding God was the best solution for Moliko. And so thank you, Moliko. When you had our first podcast, it was very not where we weren't used to hearing someone, especially a male, come out and be
Yeah.
vulnerable to talk about his struggles and his mental health issues that he dealt with growing up. And so thank you, Moliko. And because of Moliko, a lot of people came out and started talking. So that was a good example to set the way for everybody else. All right,
Thank you.
Kalani, I see you wanted to go next. Go ahead.
Oh no, I won't. I won't cover much. All the brothers have covered everything. I'm glad that this podcast had brought something that I know that it'll probably or mostly impact those people that are actually having these type of issues. Mental issue is a very serious topic. Also, it's affecting a lot of our generations. And like what Moile Toa was saying, Toa was saying that back in the days, we were told as how it is. We don't have a saying on anything. You don't question or anything. So, criticism, discipline, even physical punishment has become the norm for us back in the days. And then years and years later, that we're actually raising our own family, we started to think about it, and it does put a huge impact on our mental, and it becomes an issue as well. So now everybody have their own mental issues, stories, but it is affecting a lot of us. And because of our culture and the way that we were raised, I know that when we do something, we're always looking at our parents. Did we do it right or did we do it wrong? And we look at them if they're going to sasa us or anything that they're going to do as far as disciplining us. And now, like I said, it does put an impact on some of us from the older generation. And then I'll move it towards to the generation nowadays. Different type of mental issues. I would say that social media plays a big role on mental issues with the generations nowadays. Of course, there's a lot of platforms that are used by all these generations, especially just for the love, the like, or all these emojis, for popularity reasons. And then if they don't feel like that their video or anything that it's gaining a lot of these response, they feel like they don't belong out there in the world. And it because of this kind of social media thing, it does play a role of the mental issue for all these kids. And of course, suicidal depression is the number one thing. The reason why suicidal is actually happening is because somebody is alone and not having to have help. And not to go so much on that, but I think that some of it we grew up in a house to where that we are face to face with our kid, with our parents, and that's one of the crucial things. And it does play a good role in our families when we have a face to face moments, when we have dinner in front of the tables, talking, always talking to our kids. But right now, it's starting to go to the social media. Texting is something that it's a normal conversation now between parents and kids. And then when kids trying to search for an answer, they won't ask their parents. They will ask their friends or somebody. So there's a lot of roles that can play in this issue. But I think of it is that like what Brother Toa was saying, when you have so much that it's hold inside of you, it's like a bomb that it's about to, but if you don't diffuse it, it's going to be too late.
Yeah.
And I think that it's already been diffused to where that the mental is already in relief. So, malo lawal faso ato ha. And I think that hopefully somebody out there that is listening to this podcast seek help. Don't think that it's a weakness because sometimes think that our culture was, hey, why kill it, But now it's like what Brother Mooney was saying. This just recently discovered the Samoan name in the program for this type of thing that we never knew that it actually impacted our mental issue for so long that we didn't even know anything about it. So yeah, I think it's the family structure is one of the crucial things that we should take it serious in our house, homes. O le whaawae fo ia o ngai kamiki ia o kongu lava o kākou ainga. So that's my take upon it, and then I won't say further because everything is already covered by all the usos. Yeah, malo lava fa. That's all.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's it.
Moni, can I ask you a quick, because you live in Samoa, you're always back and forth in American Samoa. I believe that there is about, from what I understand, there's about 5 licensed psychiatrists back in Samoa who are also therapists. And I believe that there are also programs in American Samoa where our teenage kids and those who are adults as well can go to seek help. Is that correct?
Yeah, I know 4 for sure, but 5 may be correct. I know 4 for sure.
Okay.
And then I do know that in schools they have training for like guidance counselors, and they have training in the education system. We send people off island to go and uh, be part of these hours and weeks of workshops, and part of those workshops is addressing mental health. I mean, I feel like that's the extent of teacher training, education training when they return back home. By virtue, they're supposed to apply what they learned, into our school systems. But yeah, that I know 4 for sure. Yeah, so
Thank you, Moni. And I believe one of them, she was, I had asked her to come on, but she had a daughter too that was graduating this week. So
right.
we hope that in the next time we have our panel, which we're going to do every 2 weeks, we'll have some licensed therapists or psychiatrists on, or anyone that's
That'll be
wanting
great.
to be on on the panel could help us out. All right. Arlington,
Just
go ahead,
I
Moni.
mean,
Go ahead.
it's still a stigma. It's still stigma. It's still stigma. And as a panelist, yeah, we have our opinions, but as a personal human being, I remember we came from Samoa. We came from Samoa, and the teachers here had a conversation with my parents, and I was just talking to my mom about this the other week, and they're like, you know what, Mrs. Peely, your son is one of a kind. And so my teacher in school told my mom, take him, take your son to a psychiatrist, which of
Mm,
course mom did, and visiting the psychiatrist and going through some tests. Mom was said, okay, we're gonna prescribe Ritalin to your son because he's autistic and he has ADHD. I woke for Otina. My mom's like, really? You all these pills you want me to give to my son? You're like, yeah, according to our tests results, this is what he had. Yeah, mom, let alone me, at that age, mom was like, how does he know? How can he father sing his own feelings at this age? So she took all those medications and she threw it in the trash. And we were talking about this a few weeks ago, and she goes, and I left it to God's son, and look, you turned out fine. And I joked around. I'm like, but did I though? I'm like, maybe, maybe I should have. But going back to the whole, you know, the way we react when it comes to mental health. But growing up, will I say I had my episodes and with my mental issues? Absolutely. Who doesn't? Who isn't a little crazy and a little weird? We all have our moments, all of us. And sometimes we tend to take those small moments and let it define our entire life. But I am grateful. I'm grateful that, by the grace of God, that I turned out okay, and I still have so much improvement to make. I still have a lot to achieve as far as my mental health. But again, a lot of people in our family are facing these trials and tribulations concerning their mental health. Be aware of the signs, and if someone in your loved ones and your family's reaching out, you know, reach out back. They're gonna need it. That's
And be
like,
that good ear to listen, not to complain.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, to have an ear to listen, not to complain. And that's
my dear.
yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Moni, for the last thought on Arlington. Did you want to skip on this one or?
Yeah, we can move on to the next one. Thanks
Okay.
for all the brothers for sharing those good points. But the only thing I want to acknowledge was the comment that was made offline. Um, it's not much of whether you have the expertise, it's recognizing the signs. And for us that are in the military, we're not taught to go and treat someone, but you have to be the ear for that person. And also, when you recognize those signs, you point them in a direction where the resources. So that's the main thing. Be that advocate, because you may be the last person that person turns to, or you may be the last person to offer that hope. So that's all I had to share.
Thank you, Arlington. So we are about 5 minutes to closing, and we have so much to talk about. We haven't gone through all the other topics. And so that's what's so unique about being able to go through these conversation. There's so much to absorb. And I just wanted to add in regards to the mental health before we close. Um, if it wasn't for my best friend and last year, I think I wouldn't be talking right now. And I just wanted to say, um, it helps when you have someone to talk to, and just like what Moriokoa said, being able to release all of that wasn't shared and bottled in. I too did the same thing. I bottled all that in, and finally was able to just talk it over, talk, and running was a big thing for me. Being able to run daily, um, probably every day to 3 times a week, that helped me mentally. So for those of you out there who need to talk to someone, or those of you who see the signs, be an ear to them. You don't even have to listen, just pretend that you're listening, even if you need to, but just be an ear to them, because you just never know. You could be saving another life and not even knowing it. But just be a friend, and that's a blessing. You never know. God put everybody in a place that they need to be, and I'm so grateful for that. And so grateful for the story Morliko shared in his last podcast. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's such an inspiring podcast. And also, again, before we end, does anybody want to say last things before we end? Before we close, and sorry, I'm kind of getting nervous because of sharing that.
No, pero kala kamali. Ya la moe le toa. Meaning, o uman ka whakasinga, se koe whai sisi whai keimi. That's the meaning of my name. Moe le toa.
Love
Koe
it.
wha moe le koa. Yeah.
That's cool.
Thank you.
But thank you for tonight too, Yeah, mong wia mo
Yes.
ko uso ko finge ya oi naso, and everybody's listening. God bless your heart and wave at me when you see me. Don't give me
Yeah.
that mean look, man. But we all get and the blunt.
Well, I guess
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for this podcast as well, and for our viewers and everybody out there. Ai se upo sala alfa funganga ya ma lui poenga la fo linu le ai nga. But ai foi se upo ma ri el falo ya. I guess ole upo la vole ngana ya ve ma se fatu to, you know. Te poa ai me se fo inisi fo yo tato lo manau miele fi so swani for some of our brothers and sisters out there. Hopefully that this will penetrate somebody's heart and at least to share it and to uh, make it somebody else's blessing. Yeah, manuia tele fa so ngale fiafi. So fu ma ye manuia.
Thank you, Kalani. All right. Go ahead, Moni.
Yeah. O te re toi whaasiri e fwoi se leo ono woman sau noa sa matua ia lunga tatu pēno. Ai paua se whaapopo pupu, ia, mo le atu o lo o nganga whaatai, i le sunga te maitai a le aso, ai mese le mamalu tatu lau a fono, lunga tatu upenga tu pailangi. Taua te le tala noa, e mo ai fiso ai, mo i fo i nofo mana malama, manino ai le mato le vai, ona o le a, le o tatu tala noa, whaasoa. And I'm new here. This is my first time, and I'm grateful to be amongst giants on this panel. I've learned a lot listening in this podcast, and thank you so much for having me. For those who are listening in, yeah, o te whaapopo sa noa ngō leuso, a whai eisen mea o whale tonu, ia malu awe I whale tō whinangana. Whai se vaenga e le ato toa, tu ule atua e wha ato toa ina. Soifua, ma ia manuia.
Manuia. Manu.
Thank you. No, malo.
Thank you. I just want to echo what everyone else is saying, but I also want to acknowledge the folks that are watching it online, especially those who share their comments with us, because it just shows that we're also making an impact, and those are tuning in. These are touching your lives. But I also want to extend our thanks to our brothers and sisters beyond our Samoan borders, because I know the rest of the Pacific are also sharing the same issues, and they've been tuning in and listening. How is Samoa resolving this problem? So I'm grateful to have you guys on the panel because you're sharing these thoughts. But then also very, very grateful for Moni for joining us, because we wanted to have someone from Samoa. It didn't feel right that we're always here commenting and we're living in a stateside, but we wanted to bring someone from the island to say, hey, I'm on ground. So these things that are being addressed, I can acknowledge that. So very grateful. We also had Susana. I know she was trying to get on. So we do have more Samoan panel members coming on, but then we're also broadening our panel to include the Pacific wide. So in the upcoming weeks, look forward to bringing our brothers and sisters beyond our Samoa. So we're gonna hear other issues or other success stories beyond just in Samoa, because that's what we are, Pulse of Polynesia. But thank you for all the wonderful wisdom to share, and hopefully that this gets back home, to Samoa in specific, and if it reaches the other islands, very great as well. And thanks again, Leaso, for your thought and the vision that you had for this program and bringing this panel together for tonight. Great subjects.
Thank you, Leso.
And again, thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the panel members and to all our guests who tuned in. And as always, we love you all. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. And as always, to God be all the glory. Everyone have a good night.
Very cool.
Amen. Pa soifua.